sometimes people just say mean things and it really is nothing about you. It's about what they're going through.
Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of the podcast. I'm having such a good day today. You're listening to this and you're only getting to hear one episode, but I've been chatting with moms all morning and it's my favorite thing. And I've been looking forward to this chat for a couple weeks now. I'm hanging out with Melisa Osmond. I met her at the Wanna Be Balanced event and you spoke to my soul, Melisa. I loved every word that you said. She's freaking gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
You are. She's a mother of how many children?
3 children.
3 children. So we have that in common. And you looked so freaking cute at the day of the event. She was wearing this hot pink blouse, black skirt. Like, I'm never going to forget it. Like, forever, that's what Melisa looks like in my head.
I love it. Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, I'm a hot pink girl. That's my signature.
I love it so much. It's so cute. So anyway, Melisa spoke, and I loved everything she said, and I wanted her to be able to share some of what she shared here with you guys, because it was really inspiring to me. You know, when you're just like, you're hanging out with somebody or you're listening to somebody talk and you're just like, yes, you totally get me. Like, we're totally on the same page of life. It was that moment for me. So
I love that.
So Melisa Osmond is here hanging out with us today. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. This is awesome. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. I'm excited to have you. So tell everybody, we already said that you have 3 kids. Kind of give us a little background, their ages, their genders, whatever you want to tell us.
Yes. Okay. So my oldest is Dylan. And he is 11 and a half. He's almost 12,
oh my gosh,
which is crazy and so fun at the same time. I'm loving that stage of life, the tween age. It's so fun. 5th grade, and so it's been great. And he's our oldest. Mm-hmm. And then we got our little girl, Miss Emmy, and she is 9, and she's also so much fun, the age. And
oh yeah,
I'm loving that phase of my life, raising my older. I call them my bigger kids because I have a little bit of a bigger space. And then we have a 3.5-year-old little boy. Nice. And his name's Ryder. And he's the boss. He's the boss of the house. And he's so fun. Everything is just so fun with him. He makes us laugh. He does the funny things where he makes, the whole house happy with a child that age. Also extremely exhausting. So that's why I love to be like, okay, I get to kind of do my big kid thing sometimes. And yeah, but it's so fun. I love it.
So was he a surprise or just like an afterthought where you're like, we're not quite done?
Right. So my husband was in grad school. We were busy. We had the 2, a boy and a girl. And so I think I think I knew deep down we could always have more, but we never necessarily wanted a super large family. Mm-hmm. And so I always actually thought 3 kids. And so we were just kind of waiting around, getting through some crazy parts of life. Mm-hmm. And so then we had that moment where my husband just knew there was one more. Aww. And it was pretty crazy. And everyone asks, with 2 kids, we get the question all the time, like, oh, when are you having more? And you have to have more.
Yes.
And so we got it all the time. And then it was just one day that he had, without a doubt, a total feeling that there was one more. And we thought, oh my goodness, we started trying right away. And we thought we'd get pregnant right away. And we didn't. And so it actually took us a year. Oh, and wow. I had a miscarriage.
Oh my gosh.
It's a bigger space than we thought because of that, but we have loved our space. That's been awesome.
Yeah. I've wondered about that because I had 3 really close together. And now, okay, this is like probably sharing too much on the podcast because then people are going to be like, what did you decide? But lately I've had no big feeling about like having one more, but just thinking if I were to have another one, it'd be nice that the 3 were a little bit older because I had at least 2 in diapers as we did those 3 in a row.
Yes.
This would be so nice because everybody's potty trained except the baby. Everybody can take care of themselves, brush their own teeth.
It was awesome. I mean, I wasn't exactly planning on having as big of a space. It's about 5.5 years.
Is he riding a scooter behind you in the house? That's so cute.
Really is. He is. But he's so much fun. And the 2 big kids, Dylan and Emmy, are basically like their little, his parents too. And he's
that's so cute.
It's been great. So when he was born, my daughter started kindergarten. So I can honestly say that I cherished him as a newborn because I was, a little bit more experienced. I had the other two and I wasn't as frazzled. I didn't have the little other toddlers at home.
Mm-hmm.
They were at school and I could just hold him, and I was vividly there when he was a newborn and a little baby for sure. So that's awesome.
I love that. That's so fun. This is real life, everybody. Real mom life happening in the background.
Yes.
Okay, so I love that. And it's kind of encouraging to me that maybe if I don't know for sure right now, I don't have to make up my mind. I just wanted to have them all close together. Okay, yeah. So I love knowing that it's okay if I don't make up my mind right now, that we can always go back later, have these grown children, take care of the baby. It sounds dreamy. It sounds so dreamy.
It is dreamy. And yes, it's never too late. You know, you can make those. I have plenty of friends that have started having a space and had some of their other kids close to 40 or in their 40s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not too late.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to play this back for my husband and let him decide. I would love if my husband had the inspiration to have another one.
I know it was. And I think, on a spiritual sense, God knew that's what needed to happen in our home. So my husband, without a doubt, had that crazy feeling that he could not deny, and he needed it,
Yeah.
So, which makes it all so special.
Yeah, we're probably a little more likely to be like, okay, sounds good, let's do this. And it's funny how it's like, oh, I'm doing all the work. Why are you so worried about it? Like,
I know.
Financially, we can provide for our family, so why not have more kids?
Exactly.
I think he just knows what a beast I am when I don't get enough sleep. And he's like, but I like you now. I don't want you to be tired.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to give up mama.
Uh-huh. It is. Okay. So, what else do you do? Because I know that you do other things besides taking care of your 3 beautiful children. So tell everybody a little bit of background on what else you do.
Yeah. So right now I have been doing some family fun segments on Studio 5, KSL. And that has been so much fun. I get to do fun segments with my kids and whatever it is, different ideas of indoor birthday party ideas or fun free tours around town, all sorts of fun things.
Awesome.
And we go and adventure and we do it. And then I go on the show and talk about it. And I love to share. And so almost a year ago is when I turned my kind of personal Instagram account into a public one to basically do that, to share family fun ideas, kind of open up a little bit about my family and what we do for fun and mom life. And it's been a really great positive experience in my life.
That's awesome.
And then when I started doing that, I started writing for a website called Mommy High Five, which is, I love that, just the idea of like, we're all in this together, no matter your style, no matter how many children you have, whatever, let's just all give each other a high five. We're all doing the best we can. I interview inspiring moms as well, kind of like interview them and then I write articles about them.
Awesome.
So I just love that kind of thing. So I've been doing that and staying busy with the kids and
don't you love that? Like the interviewing the women and just connecting and having that opportunity. For me, I feel like, and I said this at the Wanna Be Balanced event, like I get the most out of it more than anybody because I'm the only one who's here for every single call. Even, if these girls are listening to every single episode, and I know that there are some who listen to every single episode, and I love you guys. But cool. Like I get the before chat and the after chat, and I get to listen back to it and edit it, and like I really get to connect, and it really fills my cup. And I guess everybody else does feel that when they listen. They're getting to participate in this conversation and hear these perspectives. And it really, really helps you to be aware of, just like you said, like we're all in this together. We might have a totally different experience or different, we might look differently or raise our children differently. But I love what you said in the questionnaire you sent back to me. Like we all stay awake at night worrying about our kids.
All of us. It is so true. No matter what you believe in, no matter how many kids you have, how old you are, what you guys do, what kind of car you drive, we all are moms and we're all up in the middle of the night at different times, Googling, an issue. We're all worrying about our kids and we all love our kids just the same, no matter what. Yeah,
it's so true. I love that. I really think it did something to my, I don't know, to my heart to picture that because, we're all bustling through our lives during the day and we're all just kind of like head down, face forward, like do our thing. Don't worry about anything else going on. And it's easy to judge other women when we're at the store or when we're doing this and that. But then when you really like think about that, like you would in a heartbeat reach out and help another mother if you knew that she hadn't slept in 2 days, or that she had a child with a fever, or that she was worrying about, you know, a family issue, or, you know, like it really, those are like the quiet times when we are all probably the most similar, because no matter the hustle and bustle and what our daily life looks like, our hearts are so similar, and the way that we care about our children is the same. So I love that. I really love like envisioning that.
Yeah,
in that
it's
perspective.
true.
It's so special. So I love that you're sharing online. I love that you're sharing, you know, your family fun, and you're helping other people to kind of find fun ideas of things to do together, especially for people like me who love adventures. I love thinking outside the box and doing some exciting things with my kids. And I've struggled since moving back to Utah, because in California we had the beach and Disneyland and pretty obvious things, the zoo.
Right.
And here in southern Utah, I'm kind of like, well, we can go hiking again, or we could go to Zion. So I love that, because you need a little bit of outside perspective in that regard too, to kind of be aware of what other people are doing.
Yeah. And even if it's just like, oh, I knew about that, but it's like that reminder at that right time. You're like, oh, I am going to go to Home Depot the first Saturday of the month and do that free craft day. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And that's fun. So maybe that's things that like you've done or you've heard of, or a park that maybe you've been to, but I like to, even if it's not the first time you're hearing about it, which sometimes it is for moms, but it's like a good reminder of like, I am going to go on that bike trail. That sounds fun for this Saturday, or whatever it is.
I love that. So I know it's something you've had to step into and had to overcome some fear putting your life online. And we'll give everybody a little bit of backstory, because I think it's important they know why you ended up in like a tabloid, which you're going to share. Right. So who is your father-in-law?
So my father-in-law is Donny Osmond.
Oh, I don't know if anybody's heard of him. He's kind of a big deal, Donny and Marianne Osmond.
He's pretty awesome.
I'm sure he is really awesome. So what was that like, stepping into that family? I mean, I'm sure it's like a wonderful family to be part of, but did you anticipate or worry that you would ever be in the spotlight because of that? Or did you think that you guys would be able to lay low?
Well, I didn't really have those concerns, because I met my husband. I mean, that's a whole awesome story, but I grew up in Florida, and I got a job on the Donny and Marie talk show, which was in California. So we're going back in time a little bit. So this is the year 2000, and they were doing a talk show, and all I wanted was to go to BYU, and I didn't get accepted to BYU. So my life kind of took like a different turn of different like internships that I did, and jobs and different things.
Okay, so you were doing an internship.
Yes. So I started kind of changing the course, and I did an internship at Disney World. And then during that time, I did an MTV Road Rules job, which people don't even hardly remember that show anymore, but it was awesome.
I remember it.
Yeah, I did the Drive at Home promotion for it locally, and I did the local commercials for it. And so I was watching TV, and it was the Rosie O'Donnell talk show was the best. This was like the 90s. So that was the number one. So I was like, I'm going to move to New York City, and I am going to work for the Rosie O'Donnell talk show. And so then I just started doing cold calls, all these different places, and just kind of like setting up to work somewhere, and in TV is kind of what I wanted to do. And I had some experience for someone my age around that, for kind of out of high school age. And so I never really heard back from anyone, and my calls wouldn't really go through to anyone. And one day I was watching TV, and I saw a talk show with a man and a woman, and it was called the Donny and Marie Show. I had never heard of Donny or Marie Osmond.
Are you serious?
Never. And my mom said, "Oh, they're brother and sister, and they're Mormon." And I was like, "Really?" And I'm Mormon too. And I had no idea. And so I kind of like watched it a little bit more, and it caught my eye, and I thought they were so funny, and so it was a fun show. And I thought, maybe I'll try calling Sony Picture Studios, and maybe I'll move to LA instead.
Yeah.
And so I put in a phone call, and it was 100% like everything was falling into place. Like it was all this meant to be scenarios of events. And so I called, I got a direct person on the phone. It was at Sony Picture Studios in LA. I said, "Can I have the Donny and Marie show, please? One moment, please." Then they sent me to a receptionist at the Donny and Marie show. I mean, this stuff doesn't happen.
Especially not now, probably.
And I knew a little bit of lingo because I had been sending out resumes and different stuff. So then I said, hi, can I have the internship coordinator, please? And then they transferred me to a person, and he said, Donny and Marie show. And I was like, hi, I'm just calling to inquire about your internship program. And so this was the day of like answering machines with like a tape and fax machines. So then he said, fax me your resume. And so I did. And like I said, I had quite a bit of things that I had previously done. And so I faxed a resume, went on with my day, came home, and had a message on my home answering machine. And it said, this is Keith from the Donny and Marie show, and we would love to have you come out for an interview. And I thought, oh my goodness, like what am I getting myself into? And so I told my mom and dad, I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to go for this interview. Honey, I went to Ann Taylor and I bought a matching Ann Taylor silver suit. I got a briefcase. I was like all business, so excited. And it was the first time I flew on a plane alone. So it was just like, oh my goodness, no matter what, how exciting this experience is, and kind of like my adult life opening up for me. And so I went out there, and I had one cousin that I knew that lived out there, and I stayed with them. And I did kind of like a 2-part interview process and had so much fun, fell in love with the staff and the crew and the show. And they offered me the job for an internship. Nice. I mean, I said they don't have plenty of people in the state of California. It's just bizarre. From Florida, across the country to do an internship. It was just the right moment at that right time, making that phone call, putting myself out there, and obviously a higher power over it all, overseeing it all. And so I got the job. He said, Melissa, we'd love to have you come out in January and, work on our new season. And I said, I am 99.9% sure. I just need to check with my parents first. So again, it all worked out. I found a roommate, and I started working on the show. And I had only worked on the show a couple of weeks or less. And I wasn't going to go into work that day because my boss was so cool. He said, if you need a day to set up bank accounts or do laundry or run errands, call us and you can have a day off. Yeah. I was planning on calling in that day to take that day off. And he called me first and said, Lindsay, Donny's assistant, had a project for me, and he wanted me to help her. So I said, oh, of course. So I lived close to the studio. So I went into work that day. And when I went into work that day, I walked in the door pretty much frazzled. And I said, hi, Lindsay. And she said, hi, Melissa. And there was this boy sitting on a couch right there. And she said, oh, have you met Donny's son, Jeremy? And I said, no. And so I went over and I shook his hand. And there was a moment that I can never forget, that I cherish forever. He did a half stand when I walked over to shake his hand, and kind of halfway stood up, and it caught my eye. Growing up in the South, it was like a Southern gentleman thing to do, just so polite. And so we shook hands and we met, and I mean, that's the whole story. He followed me around the whole day. Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen were on the show that day, and my job was to put the gift giveaways underneath the chairs for the audience. And he came and helped me do my job. Even the day we met, people said, we had said even we want to have 3 kids. I mean, it was just crazy looking back. And one of the boys that worked on the show said, how do you like to know you just met the boy you're going to marry? And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, don't do that to me. This is embarrassing. Like, I'm just trying to work. Like,
oh
stop.
My gosh.
And, well, you're Mormon and he's Mormon, and that's how you Mormons work. He likes you, you like him. And I thought, oh no, like there's no way, like this is now crazy. And he said, well, he said you're gorgeous. And I said, whoa, what did he say? Like, people have called me funny, cute, whatever, but he said that about me. And now I'm like so nervous to run into him again. And so then he helped me and we talked, and he asked me out to dinner that night. And we went to the Cheesecake Factory in Marina Del Rey. And yeah, it was just crazy. But the craziest part is we were sitting on the set, and then they said, quiet on the set. It was rehearsal. And it was around Valentine's Day because we met February 1st. And they obviously tape ahead. So they were doing their Valentine's show. And everyone said, you're going to marry this boy. And I'm thinking, what is going on right now? Why is everyone, I would walk by and someone would say, you guys are such a cute couple. I mean, I just met this boy. Like, what is going on? So so I'm sitting down, and I remember the moment. I look over at Jeremy, this boy I met, and I said, in my mind, am I really sitting next to the boy I am going to marry? And then the band started. Boom, boom, boom. Meet me at the altar in your white. We and the song was called "Let's Get Married." I'm not
Oh
a
my
singer.
gosh.
Is that hilarious?
That is
and
so
it was
cute.
Just like, what is going on? And so it's my favorite story to tell, and my favorite. If I could relive any moment in my life, it would be the moment I met my husband. It was just amazing in every part of the sense. And we met, and then we dated, and then he was 18 and I was 19. And so again, I couldn't believe it. I waited for him on a mission because I wanted him to go on a mission. He wanted to go. And so it was that we did that. And so then we wrote crazy, and we're that like very small percent of people that actually get married after waiting for a missionary. So we were married like 6 weeks after he got home from his mission.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
15 years this November. So
congratulations.
So that's kind of how I got connected. Sorry, long story short, but that's how I got connected with Jeremy's family. But honestly, so I kind of knew, I didn't just meet him first. So I kind of knew what his dad did. I knew what they did. And so
you knew what a big deal they were after a little while, right?
Yeah. So I went, yeah. Then I was like, oh, then I researched it all. Like huge. And then I understood. Yeah, I got definitely schooled on how amazing they were and all that they did and the superstars that this family. So
yeah. Okay, so how long ago did you kind of get thrown into this like tabloid situation? If you want to just give like a little brief rundown of that story.
Yeah, so it was about 5 years ago, honestly, and it was kind of like, not a big deal. Obviously, being that my husband is Donny's son, there's obviously maybe sometimes a chance that things could be thrown into some sort of tabloid thing, but not at all something I ever thought about on a daily basis. We live our lives extremely normal, down to earth. Jeremy's mom is so down to earth, and all of the kids were raised out of the Hollywood scene. It's just, oh my goodness, we're just so normal people completely, shopping at Walmart, clipping coupons. Like, it is not even anything that a tabloid would be interested in our lives. And so one day my husband was going, he was kind of shooting up in the mountains because he's always in scouts and working with the Boy Scouts and, enjoys shooting and hunting. And it was like right there on BLM property. And so he ended up getting like a ticket with a couple of other people because even the officer was like, I'm so sorry to even do this to you. It's like literally right here versus that. But just to keep the peace, here's a small ticket. I'm so sorry. So it was like not even a big deal. But then he had to go and get a picture taken, and because it was like a ticket. And so he went in the next day like, oh, I had no idea I'd actually get like a picture taken for this. And so everything got, completely done, and it's nothing, no records or anything. And again, it was just like not even a big deal. And because there was like a picture that must have been pushed through somehow. And so 6 months later, we get a phone call on my cell phone, which is crazy how these people find it. And they said, we're running a story, and do you have a comment about it? We're running it whether you want it or not. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they said, when you were shooting your gun and you were arrested. It's like, no one was ever arrested, and no. And so then sure enough, they ran with the story. And honestly, we were all just like, who cares? Of course, Jeremy's dad didn't care. I mean, it's part of his life, and you don't even pay attention to that. You move on with your life and you don't even worry about it. That just, they don't even care about little tabloidy things like that because it's not true and it doesn't even matter. And so it was fine. It was like a total non-story. I mean, honestly, we're kind of laughing about it. I mean, it's not every day you get put in one of those at the grocery store and you're like, okay, who cares? Yeah. But what happened was then they sold that story, and then they kind of went in. I had a totally hidden life for the most part. I mean, I had like a Facebook page for my friends and family, and as just a mom raising my kids. And then they went in and they took like my pictures off my Facebook page and blurred out my kids' faces. And it was all these online things. So within seconds, internet speed, now my life, our pictures are just splattered all across all of these internet tabloid places. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's just to make it sensationalized and make us look crazy, and everyone's like, oh, don't read the comments. Like, don't you dare read the comments. And of course, the first thing I did was read the comments. Because, I'm not going to listen to that. And never in my life had I ever seen or read or felt that low ever in my life. There was not one nice comment. And I mean, it was personal. It was brutal. It was, you are so ugly. Like, she must have thought that was a good picture if that's her profile picture. Or, what's wrong with them? Like, what's their deal? Or, I mean, honestly, it was a zillion comments all about my looks. And it was devastating. It was so painful to read, because you kind of think, strangers, like, they don't know me at all. Like, strangers don't lie. Like, if that's what they see in me, I guess that's true. Like, I guess that's what I am. And it was, I mean, like I said before, I mean, I've been to middle school. I know people say things about you. I mean, I get it, like, but never in my life, in my 30s, a mom, had I experienced that. And I wasn't like a celebrity. I didn't have a fan club group or anything where people could, have my back in that moment, or like, you just kind of think like, oh my gosh, it's true. And it's you just, horrible. It's horrible. Yeah. And I just, how did this even have to happen? And so I hid as hard as I could. I hid my life away. Mm-hmm. And I wish I could say like, oh, it didn't bother me, I don't care. No, it bothered me so much, and honestly took years to get over it. And it did. It shattered parts of my self-esteem and my self-worth. And I kind of had to just pick up those pieces over time and kind of square my shoulders and move on with my life. But I have a background in TV. I did theater in high school. I am an outgoing person and put myself out there. And so I hid my life. I mean, I remember looking at pictures thinking in my mind, would they like this picture of me? What do you think they would think of like this picture or this picture of my husband? Like, I don't know. And I tried to make everything so private. I just never wanted to have that happen to me again. And so I did. I just hid my life away, and we were trying to get pregnant with our third at the time, and I wasn't. And that's a hard thing to go through, to try. Right. And then in addition, get thrown into this international tabloid thing where, they don't know us, and they just think like we're I don't know what it was, but it was just so mean-spirited and awful that I just thought, can life get any crazier? Like, what did I even do? I felt good about myself prior to this point, And people walk around sometimes with scars on the outside, and you see them physically, and you're like, oh my goodness, I see that. But so many of us, myself included at that time, were walking around completely scarred on the inside, but you can't see it, and I just had the worst self-esteem at that point in my life, and just thought of myself as what they said I was. And it was awful. And so over time, I don't know if it was like a moment or a series of events, but I purposely was kind of 100%, I had an Instagram because everyone kind of did. It's fun. I thought it was fun for editing kids' pictures, completely private. Facebook, completely private, as protected as possible. And then I started kind of like getting a little bit stronger and realizing, honestly, what helped me a lot was, I love when Brené Brown says the two most powerful words when you're in struggle are me too. Yes. And seeing other people, even like watching that mean tweets on Jimmy Kimmel when like people would say things about these celebrities, it actually did help me. Like I watched a ton, and I remember turning it on at that exact moment. And these are beautiful. prestigious, talented, wonderful people, and they're still getting crazy people. I mean, people are just brutal online, and
Yeah.
it's true, and you don't have to believe it, and you don't have to receive it. You don't have to even go there. That is, and then another thought of hurt people.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly not even personal. It's just, sometimes people just say mean things, and it really is nothing about you. It's about what they're going through. And it's also, especially on those crazy sites, I mean, bless them, but what are they doing all day? Just trying to go on crazy tabloid things and say mean things about people. It's like, what's going on, to do that and put that kind of stuff out there. But in the world today is people read it. Right. You think people don't, but people can read it. So it is so important to, be careful what you say online, and what you write about people, because, people are eventually going to see it, or it's not impossible to read,
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's a powerful lesson, like, be careful what you write on there. And so then I kind of started getting a little bit, and then I had an opportunity to kind of go on TV just this last year and do a family fun segment. And I thought, it's a completely different world from when I used to do anything. There were no comment pods, there were no forums, there was no Facebook, Instagram, there just wasn't, you just kind of put yourself out there, but you really didn't get critics,
Yeah.
So I was like, I do love doing what I do. And so I thought, even if for nothing else, just to kind of, take my life back a little bit, take my story back, and, not let other people's opinions of me determine what I'm going to do with my life. I think that's so important.
Yes.
And so I went on a local TV show, and I did a segment, and then that kind of led into like a few more things, and it felt really good, and kind of like got stronger to where, and my husband said, don't read comments, Like, what? If you're not going to be supporting of me or kind, then I don't want to see it, and I don't want to hear it. And Brené Brown does an awesome thing about that in the book, Daring Greatly, which is like, I see you, the critics, you're here. You can actually come in and have a seat right here. But if you're in those cheap seats and you're not in there, getting it done
in the arena,
then I don't need to hear what you have to say. And that is so empowering, because it's true.
Yep.
And so I did. I went out there and I did it. And then I slowly got approached to kind of start writing for this website. And it did. It kind of opened up my world. And then I had my first kind of inspiring mom interview with Michelle Shumway, who created Rad Swim, who is amazing. And I actually met her in my college days, because I ended up going to BYU Hawaii. And it was a moment that I needed to hear a quote at the exact time. And I always, because I'm a quote person, I love quotes. I always like to ask, what's your favorite quote? And she told me it was the Marianne Williamson quote, who Nelson Mandela often quotes it, but it was Marianne Williamson. And when she gave it to me, it was like a light bulb moment in my life. And it literally changed a course of where I was going with my hiding. And it was, can I read the quote?
Yes, please.
So the quote is, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
I love that.
I loved it. And I just thought, oh my goodness, like, I am not even letting my light shine. I'm just completely hiding it in fear, living in fear of other people. And that is not meant for me. It's not meant for any of us, for the only reason of fear of other people. Yeah. So I soon after kind of opened up my Instagram, which it's been about 8 months now or so, and kind of opened it up to public because it's just kind of is how the world is now. And, you know, you kind of put yourself out there to do things. They kind of want to see a part of you. And it's been a very positive experience. People have been very kind and nice, and it's been so supportive.
And now you have a fan club. So if anybody said anything negative, you've got thousands of women who would be like, back off.
So sweet. So it has been a beautiful experience. I've met amazing people because of it.
Yeah.
I do love sharing my story because whether it's a group of teenage girls, a group of moms, any situation, I can now say, me too.
Yeah.
I totally understand how that feels. I understand how awful that moment is. I totally get it. And I have been able to take some time and kind of research and take in good books and good things and realize for myself that they don't get to tell you who you are.
Yeah.
No one gets to take your self-worth or your self-esteem from you. It's yours and yours to keep. And it's only what you think of yourself that matters, not what other people think of you. And that you get to build up, and that you get to control by your thoughts and your making sure that you are in a good place in your life. And do you like yourself? You know, that's what's more important. Are you happy with who you are? And when I was going through that, I remember seeing a picture of my husband and I that we blew up in our room, and I just stared at it. And I just thought, no, I love us. I love who we are. I love our family. I love who we are and what we do, you know, so it doesn't matter. But I'm sorry if you don't, but I do.
Yes.
And
that's an empowering moment when you realize no matter what anybody thinks of you, your looks, your personality, whatever, it doesn't matter because you really do. And you know, it's one of those things where it's like we hear it a lot. It starts to sound corny, like you need to love yourself, but it's so true. And I feel like the older I get, the more I step into that. I was just telling Shara this, like I finally feel beautiful, which is so silly. Like I was telling my husband this the other night. I've always put myself in this category of like just the friend of all the pretty girls. Like, oh, I'm just the one in here in the background. And like recently I've started seeing myself the way I think other people actually do see me, in a positive way, the people who love me.
Right.
And I'm like, they are not nitpicking my weight or my breakout for the day on my skin. Like they see me and my soul is what shines through.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I guess I'm pretty beautiful. You know, and that's a really powerful moment when you can accept that, because then it's almost like any of those negative things that come at you, they just bounce right back off.
It just bounced right off.
Yeah.
And it was a powerful moment. And I just decided, you know, hiding my life away as it was, or purposely just living my life and not really putting myself out there. And it still happened to me. I still was hurt by online world or tabloids, or definitely on a bigger scale being of what it was in nature. But I'm like, if it happened to me then I might as well, hiding doesn't make it any better. So I might as well take my life back, my story back, and own who I am. And, you know, and so that's kind of what I did and have been doing this last little bit. And it's been very positive, and I love being able to share with other people about self-esteem and self-worth. I've been able to do some speaking engagements, and it is so powerful, and I love it. I love the movie Moana. I saw it with my daughter and my little girl, and when she was going to deliver the heart, and that part where it says, you know, they have stolen the heart from inside you, but this does not define you. This is not who you are. You know who you are. And it's just like, oh, it's so true. Whether it was like with kind of thinking of my own experience or any experience, we all have something that you can think about of, that's not who I am. That happened to me. Yes, but that is not who I am. And, you know, our disappointments and our setbacks, things that happen to us, that does not define us, you know?
Right.
It is not who we are. And we are all meant to shine. And that's really who we are.
Yes.
And, you know, none of us are guaranteed a pain-free life, you know?
Dang it. I was really hoping I could skate through unnoticed.
We all will have things and hard times and big and small for sure.
Yes.
And, but it is being able to get up when we get hurt, to dust ourselves off. And whatever it was that you went through, those are the moments that you're strengthened, that you can say me too, that you are stronger because of it, and that you are more beautiful because of it, because you have knowledge and you've been strengthened by something hard in your life.
I love that so much. And I love you for sharing. First of all, I'm so excited I got to hear your love story of how you met your husband. And I think it's so crucial in hearing that and how it led into kind of like, a moment you wouldn't have anticipated, being a part of like a high profile family, and how you handled that, and how, like it would, I think, knock any of us on our butts and knock us to our core of our being and cause you to question everything about your self-worth. And I know that's a hard story to share in certain ways, but I know that it's something that you're very happy to share because it empowers other women. And I know that somebody listening to this is either maybe in a similar situation. Maybe we're not all married to like, our father-in-law's not a celebrity, but with social media being what it is, we're all definitely thrust into that moment at one point or another, or something similar to it. And I loved hearing how you coped with it and what helped pull you out of that, because I know that's going to help somebody listening. Love that you love Brené Brown. Who doesn't love Brené Brown?
Her. She's the best.
She is the best. So thank you for referencing all of that, because it's so true. And I love that quote, the most powerful words in the English language being me too. And I think I've referenced that a couple times here on the podcast, because it's so true. And it's what makes this podcast so powerful, is having these conversations, people listening to them and saying, oh my gosh, she gets it. Like me too. She's been through divorce. She's been through miscarriage. She's been through loss. She's been through, these highs and lows. She gets me. And that's really how we all help each other grow, and we overcome any obstacle. So thank you so much, Melisa. I'm so grateful that you've been on here to share a piece of your heart with us.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. So finish out telling us what makes you a marvelous mom.
Oh, I love it. So what makes me a marvelous mom is that I love my kids, that they are the reason I have my family. They are the reason that I get up in the morning and want to take care of them, that they bring so much peace, even though it's crazy. It is a peace among the crazy that they give me, that I'm literally living my dream, being a mom, raising them. And oh man, do they make me crazy and make me want to cry for no reason? Of course, I have those moments. But ultimately, I love being their mom and their biggest cheerleader, and watching them grow up and raise them, and being front row at their performances and all the different things that they go through. And I am not perfect by any means, not at all, but I am trying every day to be the mother that they deserve. And I love the quote that says, tell your kids who they are or the world will. And so I try to tell them that they are amazing, that they are smart, that they are beautiful, that they are kind, and that they are those things. And I try to instill that in my kids. And we have fun along the way. But if I can get that across to them, that when they go out into this world, that they can know my mom and dad love me, I'm a child of God, I'm a good person. I love the Help, the movie. You is kind, you is smart, you is important. If I can tell them that, and they know I love them, and they feel it in their bones and in their heart, then I feel like I've done a good job raising them the best that I could,
I love
even with
that.
all my mistakes.
Yes. Amen. That's a perfect way to end. I love you, Melisa. I'm so happy we're friends, and I'm so happy you've been able to share this with everybody listening. And I hope everybody listening has gotten as much out of it as I have. So thank you again.
Thank you so much.
And everybody else listening, we'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day.